Thanksgiving. We're going to talk about a little bit about Thanksgiving today. Arguably the most spectacular of all American holidays. This is a version of turkey based on a very traditional recipe in Marche in Italy called in Potacchio. What do you do with the bird? How do I roast it? How do you make it moist? And we'll talk all along all those things. Here I have a 14-pound bird. I'm going to put some gloves on for this. When I work with poultry, I normally wear gloves for some reason. What we've done is we've taken this bird, we've kept it in a refrigerator, uncovered for 2 days to dry this skin out. A lot of people ask me, are you a wet brine or a dry brine person? And I'll tell you, I am a no brine person. I like to salt and season this bird after it's dried out. Let me start by doing this. I'm gonna snip these wing bones, just the tip of the wing bone off. And let me show you how I do that. I'm gonna cut it a little bit right at that joint, right? And then I'm gonna continue to twist and just, there we go, just like that. And I will put this on the bottom of the roasting pan that we have. This was our drying pan. We don't need that anymore. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna season the interior of this bird with some kosher salt. Actually, I have, look at this, I have the interior bits as well, which we've taken out. I want to season this really well on the inside and then get in there and kind of rub that salt in. So everything we're doing is flavoring. This is seasoning the bird. So I'm going to season the exterior, all parts of it, the top, the bottom. I'm going to rub it on here. It makes a little bit of a mess, but it's worth it. Here we go. Plenty of salt on the exterior. Now, what's going to happen is I'm going to add some wine and some onions and some herbs and all kinds of deliciousness, some Martone Street tomato sauce to this. This is a version of turkey based on a very traditional recipe in Marche in Italy called in Potacchio. In Potacchio is a reference to this usage of onions and wine and tomato and rosemary, a little crushed red pepper. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna continually baste this bird with that deliciousness. And we're gonna talk you through the whole process. But that's the inspiration for what this is. This is how we're gonna start it. I'm gonna throw it in the oven at 475 degrees for about a half an hour to start that process of turning it brown on the outside. Then we're gonna turn that oven way down to 3 1/4, and we're gonna roast this for about 12 to 14 minutes per pound. This is a 14-pound bird, so 12 to 14 minutes per pound. So that equates to around 3 hours, give or take. Before we get into this any further, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I don't want you to miss any recipes coming up. So let me grab this roasting pan. Beautiful. Look at that. This is what we're doing. So I got the onions. I'm gonna put this in the bottom. I got some rosemary here. Look at that. We're roasting it all together. Look at this, beautiful. And we can make a sauce. We'll talk about the sauce making on this as well. So I'm gonna add a little bit of salt to this just because I think every layer should always be salted. I'm gonna add a little bit of crushed red pepper here. This is optional. You don't have to use it. If you like it a little spicy like I do, there you go. I got some white wine. This is Sauvignon Blanc. Sauvignon Blanc, nice dry wine. I've never met a Sauvignon Blanc that I don't like. I'm gonna add these other turkey bits inside there as well, and I'm just gonna well, before I rest that turkey, I'm gonna fill it up, this cavity up with some vegetables. And believe it or not, all this matters. I know that it's kind of crazy, but all this flavor that we're adding to this bird really does make a big difference on the other side of it. If we were to test these birds, do one the way I'm doing it and one without, you'd notice a tremendous difference. So I always point out the methodology and the reason why we do what we do. I'm gonna add all these herbs inside here also. Look at that. Beautiful. I'm gonna add some olive oil in there so as it's roasting, that all those vegetables are permeating the interior of the bird as well. So like I said, there's always a reason why we're doing what we're doing. Here we go. All right. All good. I am going to massage about a 1/4 cup of olive oil onto this bird as well. Oh my goodness, look at that. This is a happy bird. I like the olive oil, the butter. You know, I use butter on if I'm making a different preparation for a Thanksgiving bird, or for any bird for that matter. But the olive oil in this case, I just kind of love this Mediterranean flavor that it's imparting on the bird overall. There we go. We're just massaging all of that quarter cup of oil all over everything on this bird. There we go. So I got the oil on this bird. I'm going to add this Martone Street tomato sauce. I have the Campagna style marinara. I really like this because of the flavor. I think it's my favorite one. I guess you're not supposed to say that which of your kids is your favorite, right? But in this case, I think it's the Campagna. I'm gonna get a little water in this 1 second. As I always do, I wanna add the water to this jar, shake it up to get every single bit of flavor out of that jar. I'll tell you why I'm using this tomato sauce. Number one, I like the caramelization that happens when I glaze this bird later on. We'll be basting it with the wine and the tomato sauce and all the vegetables, the onions and herbs that are inside here. Now, we have no extra sugar added to that tomato sauce. There's a lot of sugar in the tomato naturally. There's a lot of sugar in those onions naturally. There's even a lot of sugar in that wine naturally. So when we glaze this, that'll caramelize on the exterior of that bird and really create a beautiful brown color. I also want to point out that this bottle and this salt was reserved specifically for this menu. Let's pop this in the oven and we'll get the process started. Good, 475 degrees for half an hour.
But we got this turkey starting to brown nicely on the outside. I'm going to start to baste this. And the reason why I want to baste it, particularly with all this deliciousness, is I want that to start to brown also as it's cooking. So look at that. So we got the wine in there, we got the tomato sauce, we got this delicious, and I really want to get all the bits.
This turkey has been in the oven now for about 2 hours. It's taken quicker than what we thought it was going to take, and that's why we check the bird throughout the cook time. As soon as it starts to turn brown, I know that I need to check the temp on it. So it wasn't 12 minutes. It's turned out to be about 8 minutes per pound. So check your birds. Everything is changing. Your birds are changing right in front of our eyes. God only knows what they're doing to them. All right, I'm going to take this bird out of the oven now. Let's come over this way. Look at that nice darkness. It's nice and brown, nice and caramelized exterior. I'm going to continue to glaze this. What I want to do, I'm going to show you two things. I want to continue to glaze this, number one. I'm going to let this rest, but most importantly, I want to show you where I've checked the temperature. If you could smell this, it smells so good. The rosemary, the tomato, the onion, even the celery, onions, and carrots on the interior of the bird with these herbs, the thyme and the rosemary, you get it all. It's really nice. Let's taste this liquid. Good stuff. Let's talk about the temp. So I checked this temp right over here, right in between that thigh and the breast and where they kind of meet. So that's rating 160 right now. See that? Here's 158. I continue to check it until I get the lowest number. Right? Does that make sense? 167. We'll go right into the breast right there. That's at 163, 162. That's great. We want to make sure that all together, we got at least 145, 150. Right? And it can go up. A lot of people say you got to cook it to 160. For me, that's too far, quite frankly. It will continue to rest. I'm just going to cover this and let it rest for about a half an hour before I break it down. But I always love when my guests arrive to the house and that turkey is sitting there, like, again, like that cartoon moment where they're like, look at that turkey. You really want that. So what I'll do is I'll just, after it rests for half an hour or so, I'll glaze it again with a little bit of olive oil, just brush some olive oil over the top of it, and then we'll put it on this cutting board and we'll allow ourselves to break it down. And I'll show you exactly how we cut this turkey to get the best usage of what it is. Whatever you do not want to carve your turkey while it's this hot, because all the juices will be released out of it. You'll end up with something really dry and it'll be super disappointing. We don't want to be disappointed on Thanksgiving. Family usually takes care of that for us. All right, so this turkey has been resting for about a half an hour and it's calmed down, it's workable. Right? I can touch it with gloves on, it's still warm. Every time I do Thanksgiving turkey, I put it on this block and I get texts and emails and DMs about it. It's a booze block, it's very special. It comes with this little drip tray. There's a hole in the back over here. I really love it. I love having it. This is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna take the wings off first, and then I'm gonna remove the breasts. I'm gonna lay it out on the tray. Then I am gonna remove everything from the interior of this carcass so it's easy for me to work with the legs and the thighs. So let's get after it, shall we? First things first. Here we go. First wing. There we go. And you know, as I say, these things speak to us. And so see how that, you can hear the tear at the joint? We want to make sure that that's where we're cutting from, right on the joint, just like that, right? Other side, same thing. Now, some would say that this might be a little bit too dark, and that's fine. I love this caramelization of the tomato on the exterior of this bird. But if it's too dark for you, by all means, you can cover it with aluminum foil a little earlier than I did. And that will alleviate a lot of that dark color. I'm gonna now run this knife right along the breastbone, right in the middle of the bird. So just the tip of the knife, just the tip of the knife, just like that, all the way down. And I'm gonna run it along the cavity of the breast as well. I'm gonna just cut the skin here, and I'm gonna remove this side of the breast. You can't cut meat when it's super hot because it loses all its juices and all its beauty. So you gotta be really careful about that part of it. I'm removing some of these herbs and stuff. I wish you could smell this. I wish you could smell it. It smells great. Same thing, I'm just gonna run the tip of my knife along this breastplate, right along the carcass of the bird. Boom. Same thing, some of these bits on the side, you're gonna wanna trim up. You know, it's a taste test. You're the chef. You gotta make sure that the food is good. Don't be shy. By the way, that is really moist and delicious. This might be the moistest bird I've ever done. Now it's time to get rid of the thigh and the leg meat. And this is really simple. I'm just gonna spread it wide open and I'm gonna allow, watch. Just the tip of the knife right along the side there, and then look. Then we pop it right out. And again, I'm gonna run the tip of my knife along this backbone. Right here, this bit, this is called the oyster of the turkey. Chickens have the same thing. You want that. That is literally the best part of the bird. That's the best. That's the best. So you want that oyster. You want that piece. The reason why I see that, that's the oyster right there. Look at that. Beautiful. So right now, I'm just going to take that, wrap that bottom bit around, and then put it right on the tray. Now I have plenty of room for my other thigh as well. Same thing. I'm going to take this little bit right along the carcass. I'm just going to run my knife up on it. You got to make sure that you grab this little oyster right here. This oyster is the most prized part of the bird. Look at that. Beautiful. Now this carcass is ripe for a broth, a gravy, something like that. You want to break it down a little bit. What I like to do is go right between those breastbones. Takes up a lot of space, this stuff in the refrigerator. That's when it's whole like that. That's why I break it down a little bit. And also you'll find little bits of meat like this. Favorite bite of the turkey has got to be that oyster for me. I just love the texture of it. I love the feel. Look at it. This is it right here. And so juicy. It's absorbed all that juices from the pan while it's cooking. It's super tender. Clear this up. I'm gonna get rid of this. I'm gonna flip this board over, and then I'm gonna start to cut this up for a platter on the other side, all right? All right, so we have our turkey in front of us. And so I got this leg and I got the thigh. So I'm gonna cut the leg and keep the thigh just as it is. I think people really love to gnaw on the leg, so that's cool. I'm gonna trim this little knob off there. Here we go. That's one. Let me do the other one. Good. Beautiful. So we got that. Now I'm going to pull the bone out of the interior of this thigh. I'm just going to run my knife, the tip of my knife, along the bone and around the joint. There we go. Just want to be careful about removing too much of the meat. That's why I'm just going to run my knife along the bone as I'm pulling it out. And that joint is coming with it. Perfect. You could save all this for a stock or a sauce or something along those lines. This is what I like to do. Using most of the weight of the knife itself to slice it. If I force this, the skin is going to tear or it's going to come off of the piece. And I want to be really cautious about that. Tip of the knife right along the bone here, around the joint on the other side. Other side of this bone also. Take it away, start to peel it back slowly. As I peel it, I'm also running my knife along the tip of the bone so that I can remove all that meat from the bone. There's a lot of meat on that bone, and so we want to make sure that we're saving it. There we go. Now, the hard part is over. It's all about this breast now. I really want to keep that skin as intact as possible. So I'm really slowly, same thing, using the weight of the knife to slice this breast. And you'll notice it's not crumbling, it's not too moist, it's cooked all the way through. As you could tell, a beautiful white breast there. There we go. That's one. And that is a thing of beauty. Now, it's not done. It's not done yet. Let's talk about the sauce and the gravy and all the things that this is meant to go with. So, I got these pieces of turkey here. Let me add these. And the wings, people can, if they want them, they can have them. It's all good. I don't want to ruin that beautiful presentation. I got the bowl. I'm going to save this for a stock, a broth, or a soup, or something like this. All this carcass meat. I'm just going to break it up into smaller bits. Perfect. I got the herbs and the garlic and all these things. You can toss some of that inside here for the broth as well. That's awesome. Great. I'm going to take this colander on top of a pot, and I'm just going to take all this deliciousness. See, that's the deliciousness of the turkey roast. I'm just going to strain it inside here. Now, you could take a little bit more jus, a little more sauce. You could do something. You could scrape the interior of it. That's a great idea. Good job. But ultimately, this is going to become your sauce. Squeeze all the residual juices out, right? All that liquid going into that colander. So I took all that, put it in a pot. I took this deliciousness out of the drip tray that we had earlier. I put it inside here. I'm going to heat this up and bring it to a boil. Bring it to a boil on a high heat, and then I'm going to strain it all into this pot, and I'm going to reduce it down a touch. All right, so this is reducing down. I got the sauce reducing. It's a really high boil right now. It is coming together. I just want to I want to reduce it so it has a little bit of viscosity. The way it coats the back of your spoon is the way it's going to coat your food. So let that cook down just a touch more. That is a heavily concentrated, delicious gravy sauce. So I got this sauce reduced down nicely. We're just going to nappé it over the top of these the roasted turkey, the breast in this case, the thigh and the legs. Beautiful. All right, so we have this roasted turkey. I really love the way this came out. We used the Campagna style marinara sauce from Martone Street. We got the roasted, perfectly roasted breast, may I say. I got a little bit of this sauce over the top in Potacchio. And I'm gonna nappe that sauce right over the top of it. Beautiful. Who knew? That's delicious. All right. I can't wait for tomorrow's sandwiches. I'm really pleased with the way this came out. I really pray that you'll love it as much as I do. If you like this video, please press like, leave us a comment, let us know your favorite preparation for Thanksgiving turkey.